Welcome back to Studio Chatter. As the temperatures drop, we love to cozy up in a quilt and read a good book. Let's meet Shae Burton, who has written a new Christmas story. Welcome, Shae.
Welcome. Stacy is excited. She loves books. She
That's
does.
what she said.
And I love this book because it looks like a short read that I can maybe just dive right into that I love.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Let's show our-
And she's going to show this. Yay!
The Christmas Legacy.
Yes. And it is a great short
That's an
story.
engaging title.
Thank you.
What is the
Yes.
Christmas Legacy about?
Well, we should ask her who she is.
Yeah, tell us your name.
I mean, hello.
Well, yeah, I said Shae Burton.
Well, I know you did,
I am Shae Burton.
Nobody knows who she is.
Well,
And so
that's
is this
what
a-
this is about, right?
Is this a first-time book? Have you?
This is the first time of this type of book.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
I have written in the past, but as far as this type of a novel type book, and it's kind of a short story novel type
right.
book.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the first time for this, and so I'm really
So
excited
tell us about it.
this.
What is it about?
This book is about a young man by the name of David who has been estranged from his father for about 8 years from a major event that happened, and he discovers that his father has now passed away. And his father has left him some interesting and unique things, I guess you would call them, that he needs to do in order to inherit in his father's will. And so David is now forced to kind of take a look at himself and the things and the events that have happened in his past and determine whether or not he's up to the challenge of what's in this will from
So
his
a
father.
legacy.
So a legacy that his father has left him, but also that will become potentially David's legacy as well.
Wow. So you said that you've written before. So what's your background before you even, you came to...
Well, I've
writing
actually
legacy?
always loved writing. So I think that's kind of the story of most authors, right?
I would think so. Yeah. It's
We
just
start
kind
when
of-
we're little and we write teeny little poems or short stories as kids, and that's what I did. And I've just kind of taken the opportunity as I've gone throughout my life and incorporated some of the lessons that I've learned in books and in some of the things that I have done in my
So
past.
is that why
but-
you wrote this book? Is it something engaging in your past, or what was your connection to the story, I guess?
Well, I'm going to say that I think that most authors, when they write a book, especially one that has a message that they want to share, incorporates a little bit of their own personal life or personal experiences.
right.
I think that's what makes the story real and
Yes.
believable. And this is the case with David's story and with Christmas Legacy. So this is a little bit about my own personal experiences, but I do have a background in working with abuse victims. And so this is incorporating a little bit of what has happened with other people in their lives. And I've tried to take it and put it together in a way that it can relate to probably just about everybody in some way.
So, Shae, what's the message of this book? Can you share that?
Without giving away the ending.
Story,
Yeah.
yes. No, I think so. The basic idea is that I believe that most people struggle at some point in their life with a sense of anger or resentment, or maybe they've gone through something that they have a lot of really deep internal suffering or pain, and oftentimes that's directed at someone else. And we can't seem to let that go, and we can't seem to move on past that. And in a way, unbeknownst to us, that often changes who we are. And so this is kind of the realization that David has. And he realizes that this anger and resentment that he's been carrying towards his father now is
Has changed
something
him or evolved him
it
into...
has. And so he's addressing as not only who he is and who he has become, but who he wants to become. So the story is that there is a chance for us, even though we may have these feelings and we don't understand, sometimes there's one dynamic or one bit of information that you get that suddenly changes your whole understanding. And
crazy.
you're able, and you're able to now take a look at things from a totally different viewpoint.
And change for the better?
And change
or
for the
not.
better.
Yes.
Or not.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the
quote I
basis of
recently
this
heard
work.
too is like everyone's perception of something is their reality.
Yep.
So if
Yes.
David's perception is something like this, but then something you said just changes and now it shifts his whole reality.
It's like a paradigm shift, exactly.
It is. And you can all be experiencing the same experience, but because of your perspective, totally different story.
Right.
Makeup or whatever.
And in addition to that, as with this, most of us have something that we can relate to this book in some way.
Yes.
Because we can there's just enough in there to be David's story, but there's just enough left out that we can kind of incorporate our own stories and our own self in this and maybe see us in this little story
So
here.
did you write it as a self-help or just, I love
section
stuff
does it
that,
go
yes,
in?
yeah, right.
I'm going to say it would.
Yeah.
It could fit
It
in that.
could fit.
It's
Of
written
course.
as a story. It's all story form, right? Because we love stories, and it's definitely something that personally,
Therapeutic maybe a little bit or something.
even for me as I wrote it, it was something that really made me go, "Wow." I could probably take a look at this own story and incorporate it into my own life and say,
So did it come in
change.
just like some kind of light, or did you wake up and say, I'm going to write a Christmas legacy?
Let's sit down.
You right? Yeah, let me sit down, let it come down.
I'm going to have to tell you, this is hilarious. This is hilarious how this all came about. So I actually had a surgery, and we're driving, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning because we have to get to the hospital. And we're the first appointment, right? So we're really early in the morning, and we're driving. And as we're driving, all of a sudden, this story starts, like you said, flowing down into my head. Except I'm driving and I can't write, so I'm like, honey, quick, you've got to start texting these notes to me. And so he, bless his heart, he did. He started taking all of these things that I'm
You should
talking.
just put it on audio.
I was just
Just
gonna
talk
say,
it out.
I didn't even
Yeah.
think about that. I was just like, and he's like, okay, I'm texting. So really, by the time we drove to the hospital, and everything else, and I came out, I had this whole story.
No way.
It doesn't happen that way, and for me, the stories kind of evolve. So I'll get the basic idea of a story, start writing it, and sometimes it takes a direction that I'm not even expecting. And that was kind of the case with Christmas Legacy. So it was really fun
So
that way.
do you think there was a reason or something that you wanted to, let's do it now?
I don't know if there was a reason why it came now,
Yeah, you just thought, okay, now's the
but
time.
there was so much in this story that came to me that I think it was just a combination of personal events and then, of course, events that I had experienced with other people, and it all just came together in a fun little.
Okay, I want to read it,
Healing
and I'm
story.
hoping we get a copy today, but where can other people find it, and where are you?
So excited. This is now available both in an ebook format and in the softbound format on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
And I also found out today that it's on iTunes.
Oh my goodness. How does that even happen? I know.
I didn't know that either. So,
when
Is it
you
your
want-
voice? Sorry.
it's
Yeah, go
not
ahead.
my
Okay.
voice. It's not my voice, but so I haven't been there, so I haven't seen it. So I'm not feeding you a story.
No.
I liked your question though when you said, could this fit in self-help? So is it just for Christmas?
No. This is actually a story that it takes place at Christmas. As a matter of fact, it would take place right like exactly where we're at in time right now.
Okay.
But it's a story really that I think you could pick up at any time, and the message in there would help you at any given time.
Yeah. I'm kind of sensing that. I love a
I'm
good
excited.
feel good.
Yeah.
Growing.
We'll have to make that as a book.
Our book club, yeah.
Book
we
club,
even have a
yeah.
book club
That would be
choice. So make
awesome.
sure you follow us on Facebook and watch us and you can read along.
Oh, I will. I'll follow along with my own story. That'd be
We
great.
should have a read. Could you read a little, excerpt or something? Could you?
I could do anything you would like me
Yes,
to.
could you? Do we have a little bit of
I
time?
think we have
Just like 30 seconds or
30
something,
seconds, something, and
yeah.
just
Well, I don't. Boy, that's hard.
Is that hard?
the back?
It is.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh,
I'm
you
just
did the
gonna read-
back.
I'll just read you the
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It says, upon hearing of his estranged father's death, David realizes he must come to terms not only with his own past, but with his present and his future as well. As David's father leaves him some important and very unusual requests as part of his will, David is forced to face the man he has become and challenge the man that he wants to be, not only as a father himself, but in dealing with the many years of anger and resentment he can no longer ignore and must face in order to carry out his father's wishes, make peace with himself, and reconcile his feelings for the father he never really knew.
You should read it on audio.
I know, Lars.
I'm like,
I'm engaged. Yes.
thank you, Shae, for joining us. Good luck.
Thank you.
So much.
Coming up next, all the details. How do you cope? Stay with us.